So President-elect Donald Trump hasn't even taken office yet, and already there are restaurant workers here in DC refusing to offer him service, and of course offering service to his cohorts, people in his cabinet, people who support Donald Trump. Recently, a server by the name of Savannah Van Roy was fired by Buchert's Saloon because she went online and made these pronouncements. And of course, the restaurant has been getting a lot of backlash from Trump supporters and anybody else who is saying that they cannot discriminate against the incoming administration. So I want to read a little bit about this apology that came as a result. So for those of you who have been living under a rock, Washington, D.C. is a very, very blue district. It is part of the blue wall. 90% of voters in the district voted for Kamala Harris. 90%. I believe it was like nearly 7% for Donald Trump, if I'm not mistaken. In 2020, when he ran, it was probably like a little over, probably like 5.5%, something like that. So he made some ground. He made some gains this time around, but it was just like nearly 7%. But it's a blowout. You know, Kamala Harris received 90% of those votes. So that just gives you an indication about, you know, like how the city is formed politically. And when it comes to the political scene, like dining out is a big thing among politicos. You know, you have a lot of places that people will go to schmooze, to be seen, that sort of thing. So to say that you're not going to serve an incoming president is a big deal. So let me just read a little bit about what she said to Washingtonian magazine. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's a very, very popular magazine here in DC. She says, quote, "I personally would refuse to serve any person in office who I know of as being a sex trafficker or trying to deport millions of people. It's not, oh, we hate Republicans. It's that this person has moral convictions that are strongly opposed to mine, and I don't feel comfortable serving them." Well, here's the thing about working in customer service, whether you're working in retail or you're working as a server, you're working whatever. Are you going to canvass the views of every person who is coming through your door to see where they stand, not just politically, but how they operate in their day-to-day lives? Because I can guarantee you, as a server, you've served some horrible people over the years. You just didn't know it. So I guess for her, she's thinking, if I know, but this might not be the business for her. So anyway, following that interview, Buchert's Saloon fired her. And they said they were firing her because she violated their zero tolerance policy on discrimination. And here's the thing, what really got to me. Buchert said that Van Roy had signed into their social media accounts without authorization to post personal rhetoric, further breaching restaurant protocol. I'm going to put this up on the screen. So let me read this statement in its entirety from Buchert's Saloon, which was posted a few days ago, and I'll put it on the screen. "We tried to take the night to review Ms. Van Roy's full comments and any other interviews she may have given to make an informed decision as to her continued employment based on our employee contracts. Not only do Ms. Van Roy's comments clearly violate our zero tolerance policy on discrimination, but her decision to sign into our social media accounts in the middle of the night to post her own rhetoric in wildly offensive responses to comments is a further breach of conduct and protocol. She has no authority to speak on our behalf, and her comments do not reflect the positions of over 20 other people who make up our staff. For these reasons, as well as the sheer dismay and disgust we feel at her unforgivable behavior, Ms. Van Roy has been dismissed immediately. Our staff and families, many of whom are personally offended by Ms. Van Roy's comments about them, are still reeling from what Ms. Van Roy said and did. And we as a restaurant are simply horrified to be associated with base prejudice. None of us saw this coming and regret deeply that the voices of over 24 people who work at Buchert's Saloon are being silenced because of one person's awful behavior. No publication or news outlet has reached out to us, the actual managers and owners of Buchert's Saloon, for comment, but we would welcome an opportunity to clarify that Ms. Van Roy is not a manager at our restaurant, but instead a part-time server, and that she had no authority or permission to act as spokesperson or hijack our social media accounts. We beg you all not to condemn the group of hardworking folks who have made Buchert's Saloon a neighborhood mainstay for over a dozen years. We are still the same restaurant known for its warm service and friendly staff, and hope you will all visit us soon. We look forward to serving you, all of you. And I actually love that they said we look forward to serving you, all of you. Isn't this what we always talk about, inclusion and being inclusive despite the fact that people have different viewpoints? And she's going to have a hard time finding a job after doing that. You know, it's one thing if you on your own time and you saying something, but if people know that you work for an organization, they're obviously going to tie you to that organization. You know, I talked about this in a previous video that I did, and I will link it up below, where the gentleman was telling his friend about going off on social media about, I guess, I surmise that it was about her disdain about the fact that Donald Trump and his team won the election. And you cannot do something like that to your organization because it really puts everybody else's livelihood in jeopardy. And to the owners, I think that was the owner or the manager's point, Washingtonian and any other organization that spoke to her should have definitely reached out to the organization to see what it is, what their official position was, because this could have caused irreparable damage. We don't know the damage that it's caused. Hopefully the statement that they released is sufficient enough for people to say, okay, I'm going to still go there. It's funny because despite the fact that this employee went off on her own and did this, went into their social media accounts and posted what she posted, there are people who are supporting what she did and saying, oh, that's her right to free speech. The dumbest things, I swear, these people say the dumbest things. You don't have the right to free speech to go on somebody else's platform. And she's just a part-time server there to go on their social media accounts, which could ruin their reputation, ruin their business over in an instant. You don't have the right to do that under the guise of free speech. So I don't know these people who are, and this is why I always say this thing is just so divisive here in DC, incredibly divisive. So they did a great job in putting out this statement. And if I were another organization, I would not even touch this young lady, because who does that? Who does that to their employer? Listen, I'm a foodie and I go to all restaurants, and I can tell you here in DC, like when Trump was in office, there were some places where you could tell like Republicans were not welcome. You could absolutely tell. You could tell by the attitudes. You could just tell, but I'm telling you, you can just tell. You know, regardless of people's political affiliation, I don't think that organizations should be doing that. And servers really need to check themselves. And if you are so perturbed by the fact that a Republican is going to walk in, or Donald Trump might potentially walk in, then maybe that's not the job for you. Maybe that's because what's next? And this is a slippery slope. So if you're a doctor and you have the opportunity to save someone's life, but you find out that they're on the other side from you, then you don't serve them. What was that? Oh gosh, what was that lady's name from FEMA? I'm going to inject it inside this video, who was fired because after the hurricane in Florida, they were deliberately not going to homes that had like Trump signs in the front yard, that sort of thing. Y'all might think that these things are funny, but they're not. And this isn't the only instance of a DC restaurant getting in some hot water as it relates to Donald Trump, right? There was a restaurant, an Italian pizzeria owner, who posted a tweet on election night congratulating Donald Trump for his victory. It was a historic election. And the immediate backlash was just like mind-blowing. And I'm going to see if I can find that video so I could put that inside here, because I just need you to hear her words.
So I posted just a congratulatory post tagging President Trump, and I said the people have spoken. President Trump won the popular vote and the Electoral College. And then I concluded with a congratulations and a question if we can put an Italian wood-burning oven in the White House. So I did not think it would go viral as much as it did. The initial reactions we got were ranging from disbelief, people thinking our account got hacked, to then just telling us to go F ourselves, wishing for us to shut down because people don't want a fascist pizza shop in their neighborhood. One person wished for our business to leave DC and go to Florida. And there was one lady who yelled profanities at my husband on the street. But that was about it. It was mostly limited to social media. As the post started going viral, we received a lot more words of support And that was really encouraging, and I believe showed that really what people want, what the American people want, is unity.
So those were her words. Quote, "The people have spoken. At real Donald Trump won the popular vote and the Electoral College. Congratulations." And that's it. Oh, and can we gift the White House a nice Italian wood-burning pizza oven? And that was enough to trigger everybody. And let me just read some of the things that I think many of you may have seen it just now. And these types of comments are the worst to me. They just get on my freaking last nerve. So this person says, and this is on X, of course it's on X, says, "What an odd tweet." Anytime you hear that intro line, like what a weird statement to make. What an odd tweet. You already know some BS is coming. What an odd tweet. You were on my radar as I spent a lot of time in Brooklyn, but I am so confused. What are you confused about? Are you trying to go out of business? No, she's not trying to go out of business. Are you trying to put her out of business? That's a better question. You know, these people are so petty. Several others threatened that they would boycott the pizzeria or cursed out the business owners for their tone-deaf remark. What's so tone-deaf? What's tone-deaf about that? He won. People voted for him. The majority of people voted for him. He swept the election. What's so tone-deaf about it? This person made it pretty easy to skip your business. I live in Brooklyn too. Okay. Next comment. "Thanks for exposing who you are. We'll never be buying anything from this business." Okay, fine. Let me tell you something. I will eat at a liberal restaurant. I'll eat at a Green Party restaurant. I'll eat at a Republican restaurant. I don't give a damn what restaurant. I don't care about your politics. I don't care. If Kamala Harris had won that night and this woman wrote the same thing, "Congratulations, Kamala Harris, the people have spoken, and I'd like to put a brick oven inside of the White House," I would have said, you know what, I like that. I love the fact that people are being, or at least trying to be dignified and unify the country in their own little way, with their own little tweet. No big deal. For all these petty people who are so quick, and I know it very well, because anytime you say something that people don't like, and I experienced this here on my own channel, I've told you guys before, that the minute I speak about, and I'm going to have a video that's coming up that I know it's going to be a bit divisive. I already know it, and I'm already prepared for what the backlash will be. But you don't not do the work just because there's going to be backlash, or because you feel like people are going to be angry, or they're going to unsubscribe and all these different things. That then you'll always be held hostage to the people. And so I'm happy that there are other folks who came through and said, no, I'll be placing a big order and that sort of thing. I think people need to just get out of their heads and stop with this petty foolishness. He should be welcome, Trump that is, in any restaurant, and just serve him and get him out of there. You don't have to be his best friend. And to be honest with you, if I were the Trump administration, I'd be a little frightened, because when I hear like these sentiments from certain people, I don't trust it. You know, I'd be very careful and cautious and maybe a little bit paranoid about who's handling my food, because people are disgusting. Anyway, let me know what you think down below in the comment section about that woman Van Roy's comments about how she would not serve Republicans, the Trump administration. What do you think about that? Do you think it's fair, or do you understand where she's coming from? Do you think it was a violation of her free right to freedom of speech, like some of her supporters said it was? Drop your comments down below, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Well, thanks so much for watching this Bahamian Gyal, and if you'd like to watch more, be sure to check out my various playlists, particularly my social commentary playlist. And if you want to contribute to this channel and keep it independent, go into the description box and you will see the various ways that you can help. See you next time.